Hi, welcome to another edition of the Alan Rosenberg Show. Heading towards the end of the year, and I am digging into my backlog big time these days. And in my backlog was this legendary live album box set from Jethro Tull, Bursting Out Live, the Inflated Edition. And you're like, wow, this was in your backlog? Yeah, it was. Now, you know I am a huge Jethro Tull fan. I have all their albums, in some cases, multiple times, different configurations. I have all 14, 15 now, of the box sets of the individual albums. I have talked about these many times. I think Ian Anderson, Jethro Tull, Chrysalis have done an incredible job. In fact, I think it's the best ongoing series of box set reissues out there. You get a ton of value for your money, tons of discs, CDs, DVDs, multiple mixes, unreleased material. They're spectacular. I think they're incredible. So what was the deal with the live Bursting Out Inflated edition, where I was a little bit hesitant, and I'm only getting to it now? Well, when they released it, I don't know. Let me show you. This is a big box, the typical format, and I'll go through it with you. But you get 3 CDs and 3 DVDs. Now, if you remember the original album, which is one of my all-time favorite live albums, by the way, it was a perfect live album from Tull back in '78, everything we could have wanted. I thought it was great. This was the digitally remastered double CD, which had the whole album remastered. Sounded fantastic. So that was the original remastered release back in the day on 2 CDs. What they did was they put 3 CDs on here and 3 DVDs. CD 1 is the first CD of the album. There's a little bit more. We'll get to it. CD 2 is pretty much the second CD from the album because you can't fit it all on one CD. CD 3 is the CD music from Live at Madison Square Garden, a little bit edited because you can't fit the whole show on one CD, so they mixed out some of the, commentary from Ian Anderson, comments and things like that. But it's great. Then you get 3 DVDs. And this is where it gets a little weird, in my opinion, because basically DVD 1 is CD 1. In my opinion, DVDs fit a lot. I don't know why you couldn't put the whole album on one DVD. But DVD 1 is the first CD, but of course they give you lots of mixes, and I listen to all of them. And I like the 5.1 surround. I have that kind of a system. DVD 2 is basically CD 2 again, but with multiple mixes. And then you get DVD 3, which is basically CD 3 with some extra video stuff. So far, sounds great. But here's the thing that kind of bothered me as a big Jethro Tull fan. I already had the Madison Square Garden show, which is CD 3 and DVD 3. They already released it back in the day. They did a beautiful job on it. CD and DVD. CD and DVD. And that's what you get in here on CD 3. And that's what you get in there on DVD 3. So it's great. It's great to have. It's a great show. I love it. But basically, you're just porting this over to this. Now, yeah, it makes it kind of convenient. It's from that time period. Okay, maybe a lot of people didn't buy that, so now they'll get it, for a pretty cheap price. But for some of us who already had it, I'm like, you're just making me buy that again, and you're sticking it on here. What else is new that's on this box set? There's not that much. Basically, beyond that, you get Heavy Horses right there on CD 1 and DVD 1. Which is, of course, phenomenal. Great to have that. It's one of my favorite Tull songs, and it's terrific. And you get an instrumental of Living in the Past. Okay, they cut that out. Couldn't fit on there on the original album, so they cut that out. And then you get Songs from the Wood, which apparently was edited on the original album because of time constraints, so they put that on here. That's pretty much all that you get, and that's new, except right there you get sound checks. And the thing about the sound checks, which I don't really understand, is they're breaking the album up. You look at CD 1, you're listening to the concert, and then all of a sudden it goes into the soundcheck songs. No Lullaby, Sweet Dreams, Heavy Horses. Well, I just heard them. So you hear them a second time without audience, but they're a really tight band, Tull, so it's very similar. And then you get two instrumentals, a thing called Botanic Man and 4WD, low ratio, an instrumental version of that later showed up on A. So it's nice to have those, but it's right in the middle of the concert. So now you throw on CD2 and it continues with the concert, and then it ends again with three more sound check recordings: Conundrum, Quatrain, and the Dam Busters March, which we just heard before. So I find it jarring, and I'm not sure of the rationale, except they were just trying to split up CD1 and CD2 and DVD1 and DVD2 to match the original album. But what is the point? To me, you have the concert, and then you can throw on the extras, which are basically you just heard, as sound check. So this is the first Tull box set. I'm thrilled that I have it. What's on is great, but I just kind of felt like it wasn't up to the level it is, because you just basically had released this already. You're porting it over to here. The bonus tracks is basically Heavy Horses and an instrumental of Living in the Past, and then Songs from the Wood is a little bit, different because it's the full-length version as opposed to edited. And then you got some sound check stuff, which is jarringly right in the middle of the concert, which I would have just done the whole concert and then threw that bonus stuff extra. I would have reconfigured it. As far as the box itself, well, it's the usual. It's beautiful. There's the first two CDs. The third CD is over there. That's your Madison Square Garden show. And the booklets are amazing. It's never been done better than these booklets, including this. There's two, not one, but two interviews with Ian Anderson. And I find him always to be a fascinating interview, because it's Ian Anderson and he doesn't pull any punches. He's kind of curmudgeonly. Is that the word? He's just, I don't know, he's not a warm and cuddly guy. And, you even get that in the interviews in here. But I like it because he's so honest and he gives his opinion on things. But it's a beautifully done booklet, as you are seeing. Here's the first interview with Ian Anderson. And when you get these box sets, it's like buying a book. So it's amazing. These are a book on this, a book on this album, a book on this album. It's literally like if you went to a store to buy a book on an album, you get it in here, plus all this material. And here's the book on Bursting Out Live. And this is how they recorded it. It goes into every detail, pictures. As far as the band itself, this was my favorite version of Jethro Tull. Maybe a lot of fans agree. This was just an unbelievable version of Jethro Tull. They were, in my opinion, at their prime, and this recording is terrific. I mean, it goes into the equipment that they use, the chronology. They were on tour. It was interesting to me. I always figured it was cheaper and a lot easier to do a live record, but back then the technology wasn't so great, and it actually was not easy. But they recorded a ton of shows, and but of course, I guess Tull was playing pretty much the same shows over and over again. So, you choose. Ian Anderson went through a myriad of different versions of the song and put it together to form this album. And it is a tremendous live record. One of the all-time great live classic rock albums for sure. And then you get into the second interview with Ian Anderson, and it even gets into the tour dates. And then you got the DVDs at the back. This is DVD 1, which matches CD 1. And there's DVD 2, which matches CD 2. And DVD 3, which is the Madison Square Garden, which is largely, 53 minutes of it is video, because that was the 50 plus minutes is video, and then the whole disc itself is like the performance is 93 minutes with all the audio. You start with the audio, then you got the video of the concert, and then it ends with the audio again. And the CD, they kind of take a highlight of, so they could fit it on like a 78-minute CD. That's what they did. So, and that's what they had done previously. So, as much as I love this, and I do, I'm always honest and passionate, they were kind of porting over what they had, and the price is still reasonable. What is it, $50 for what you're getting? But it certainly, in my opinion, as far as new stuff and what you were really getting, wasn't on a par with these other ones. The only exception is Thick as a Brick, which you only get a CD and a DVD. That's the only one that's really like a thin, amount of material on these boxes from Tull. So there's my opinion of the box set of Jethro Tull Live, the Inflated edition. And I would love to know your thoughts. Let me know your honest thoughts. Obviously, I'm a huge Tull fan. You know that. I have all the other box sets as well. But this one, as much as I love it, still kind of scraping the barrel, so to speak. You're just porting that stuff over. I'd love to know your feelings. As always, thank you so much for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy, and let me know your thoughts about Jethro Tull Live bursting out. Again, it's an amazing live record. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the box itself. And looks like they got another one coming out in about a month. The end of December, the Christmas album is coming out in a box. So these are surprising to me. I did not expect them to do a box on this. The Christmas album I wouldn't have predicted as well. I'm waiting for them to do Under Wraps. We'll see if they get to that one. That's about it. Thanks so much again. If you're new, hit subscribe. Check out my other videos, tons of them, if you go to my playlist. And I'll see you next time on the Alan Rosenberg Show.